Yeah, I love that sound. Doesn't it just sound great?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone, fam, all around, kids, family, whoever's gathered around to watch this, welcome to your 2024 Buzz, Truzz, and Red List for this upcoming season. Can't believe we're here already. A Hall of Fame game was just the other day, and saw a lot of players that probably won't be welcome back next week, but nonetheless, they tried. And we just love to keep this tradition going. I believe this is at least the third year in a row, whether at least that's filmed. So I can't wait till we're already at year 10 and 20 down the road. It's going to come before we know it. But this is one of my favorite videos of the year because it really kicks things off before the draft and gets everybody talking. And it's just a really nice time and a good reminder that football is back. It's back. We're back in business, and nobody enjoy it with better to enjoy with than your sons. So, without further ado, does anybody else have anything they would like to add before we go ahead and get started?
I'd like to ask what you're wearing.
Oh, a little,
Here's this spot.
Little suit and tie, and also, Sandbar Golf. Our lovely member, Sam, our dear long-time friend, and just a guy's guy. And I'll let him go into more detail about the company when I have him on to explain it more. But definitely repping his company, and it's just the beginning. So that's what I got going on here with the shirt and tie. It feels right for today, and also may not be in outer space, but it's really more about Sandbar Golf than anything else.
Well said.
Thank you. Looks like you're in front of Mr. Mick.
Oh,
maybe, yeah. I kind of maybe looks like a jail or a school. I mean, some people go in and out of there from that place, but nonetheless,
it was right over here where Josh hit Conte. Right? I don't know. I can't tell if it's that way or that way.
Yeah, that way, the other way.
Yeah, it was. Yes.
You can still hear their cries. Oh.
Crazy stuff. And where is Mr. Pacheco? Where is his residence? Where's he right now?
I couldn't figure out how to get the picture up. I found a good one of Pacheco. I don't know how to do it though, but that's okay because I'm locked in. I'm ready to give some.
I like to think that you're out somewhere and you just took a picture of your apartment to make it look like you're in home.
Wait, so you have a picture on standby ready to go?
I have one pulled up on another tab ready to go.
Oh,
I think
excellent.
It should take 15 or so minutes to do this on recording.
Oh, yeah. We can screen share all day, I believe. We'll figure that out. I've only screen shared myself so far, but I'm sure we can have others give control and all that. We'll figure it out as we go.
Yeah, we'll figure it out later.
Yes. Could be some latency issues for me being, so high in outer space, but regardless of which,
I think there's probably better Wi-Fi in outer space than at Northeast High School.
There could be because does Elon Musk? He has his Starlink with the satellites. I'm closer to
on a satellite.
Perhaps it's possible.
The big satellite.
Yeah. So should we? I just thought of something. What do you think about going into like routines? Since this is an annual tradition, are there any other traditions anyone would like to speak about before we go into detail about these players, and what kind of gets everybody in the mindset and gets them into their rhythm to produce this video every year?
I usually get pretty locked in by lighting a candle, pouring a nice glass here.
What flavor of the candle?
Palo Santo and teakwood.
I've not tried it.
Me neither, but it's pretty good so far.
It's not Hallmark either, I see.
No, not Hallmark.
They're like the most popular.
Yeah. And then I also put on highlights. Right now on my TV, Mr. St. Brown catching touchdowns. Gets me locked in, gets me ready to go.
You'll see a lot of those this season.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it. What about Mick? I feel like he has some traditions, some strong ones.
Yep. Pretty similar. I like 2 candles, and I have 2 TVs up. Both TVs have highlights on.
Okay.
2 candles and 2 TVs of highlights. So
what about you, Pops?
Yeah, I just enjoy enjoy some apple juice, and after that, definitely I always have my prelim list ready to go the night before at the latest, and then I have some bullet points established. But then I dive even deeper about 4 hours usually before the start of this, just so that way I'm in real time. I'm the most engaged. I've already made my decisions, but then I'm coming up with some more bullet points. I feel it helps me gets me focused, and production crew likes it better that way too. That way I'm on time and I'm on set when they're ready to go. So that's pretty much my tradition, and the apple juice for sure. That's the biggest part.
All right, time to dive in.
Yes. All right.
Who goes first?
Mm,
I'd say the man that just looks like you just graduated high school.
I'm at high school, or is it him because he has a tie?
That's true.
That's true.
It's me.
Yeah.
I think so.
I've got a jacket on in my little Ricky. Oh, the Truzz List. So when I was thinking of my quarterback, the list is going to be 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 1 tight end. So as I was thinking of my quarterback, I'm kind of in a lucky situation where I'm not worried about quarterback. So this is about guys like Chris, guys like maybe Rob. Someone else doesn't have any. You guys don't have any.
Yeah, I think it's Rob.
Maybe Rob. Yeah, there's you and Rob. So this is I'm looking right in the camera at the 2 of you. I picked a quarterback from the list of guys who are still out there who's like, this is the only guy I trust. There's a guy you could sell me on Purdy, you could sell me on Cousins, you could sell me on Rodgers, but I don't really want them. The guy I want was 2nd in the NFL in passing yards last year, 4th in passing touchdowns last year, unkept, Detroit Lions, Jared Goff.
Goof.
Golf clap. Except for those bastards on hole 17.
Except for who?
Long story. Proceed.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good pick, Mike.
Jared Goff, pick 1.
I definitely like Mr. Golf because I have 2 of his buddies. So
Mhm.
if he does well, then my guys do well. So I'm happy. I hope he's a trust.
Yeah, I like Goff a lot. I like that the offensive coordinator stayed. I like that he was interviewing. He's like, we've got unfinished business with Jared Goff. It feels like I'm joking to say that, but
Very good.
I do think they've got unfinished business. So, I think he's got to be. I think he's got to go in the 1st round. You don't want to have too many Lions. That's a weird thing, but don't roll it out.
Well, unless you're chasing something or want to hunt something.
Yeah,
Maybe some rats, maybe.
Yeah, those bastards have to be taken down. They're taking over. They're taking over the city. Speaking of which, but nonetheless, I love the Mr. Golf pick. He's definitely like Kirk Cousins to me with upside, and he's always very consistent. And like you said, the unfinished business. It's those kind of bulletin board quotes. Well, we usually hear that about them from the negative side of giving teams ammunition. A lot of times they can work positively too. They're just harder to find because the media likes to run with negativity in general. But if you can find one that's positive to support your thesis, it's usually more powerful. And I agree with the pick wholeheartedly. Well done.
They blew a lead with a chance to get to the Super Bowl.
It could be, if as long as Dan Campbell doesn't get too ahead of himself again and get too aggressive.
He hugs him too tight and injures him.
Yeah, sometimes when he went back to back with going to the 4th downs, and just it just speaks to sometimes he's a little over aggressive, but they definitely have the horses to do it, and it could be a Super Bowl. They're definitely a contender the way I see it.
Right there. Next up.
Do you want to go fish?
I feel like the red list should be last.
I think it's bust.
Okay, red is last.
From nicest to most severe.
Yes. Yes.
From the top floor to the basement.
Even better.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really well said.
Yes.
All right. First member of the bust list this year is Mr. CJ Stroud, quarterback of the Houston Texans. He was a rookie last year. He was incredible. He finished quarterback 8. Pretty good stuff, right? Wrong. He's gonna
Right. Oh.
Yeah,
You should be in here. I should be where you are. You should be at school.
What do I got about him? So he was a rookie last year. He kind of came in. No one really expected him to be that good, and he surprised everyone. It was a big shock. Now, all offseason, those defensive coordinators have been in the film room. They're like, okay, we don't know anything about this guy. We're locked in on him now. They had a year to prepare for him. I think they probably cracked the code. I haven't cracked the code yet, but I think they have.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not going to be very good. He's going to be serviceable, but he's not going to be.
Put a number on it. How low? Ranked quarterback.
He'll be quarterback
18,
17. I was going to say 17.
17. Oh my, that's a big drop.
Big drop. He doesn't run. He's not a rushing quarterback like all the popular guys now. His best receiver's name is Nathaniel.
Yeah.
That's Tank's real name.
It's embarrassing.
You got Diggs. Diggs is old and gray. He's older than us, I think.
Yeah. And he was younger than us when he came into the league.
He was. It happened quick. Yeah, that's what I got. He's a bust.
That's interesting. Fish, give me the first take on CJ Stroud, quarterback 17.
You want me to go first?
Yeah. I want your reaction on it.
You want to be mean?
Be mean.
I want you to be honest. I don't want you to be anything.
I need a moment, fellas. Mr. Chris, with all due respect, this might be the worst take I've ever heard. The words out of your mouth just there. My goodness. Not only do I have an ear infection, I have a stomach one too. My goodness gracious. Okay. I understand where you're coming from as far as maybe some natural regression because of how well he did, especially towards the end of the season. But I mean, first of all, we have to address before we go any further with Stroud. Dell, the best receiver on the team. I think Diggs is still good, still solid. I think he's still better than him because Dell, while he's a speed demon, but until he's actually at Hill status, he's a one-trick pony. Granted, I couldn't do any of the stuff that he does, but Diggs is still, in my opinion, the best overall receiver on that team. And then probably a tie between Collins and Dell. That's the way I see it. But regardless of which, he has and also not to mention they now have Joe Mixon there, which I believe is still an upgrade to Singletary, even though Mixon has injury history. But who doesn't with running backs, right? That's just the reality of the situation. But I think the Texans are a dark horse to contend for at least the AFC. I don't know about the Super Bowl, but they'll be there in the playoffs. They'll be back. And I do think, while I'm not sure how much of a step forward Stroud takes, I don't see him really taking any steps back. And that's where I'm like, I need more time to really digest this, but that's my initial reaction.
Hey, the bus list isn't to make friends. It's to stir up some trouble. And I think
but they actually have to be a bust. They have to be a bust to be on the bus list.
He might be. Speaking of Diggs, Pops, I want you to pull it up while Mike's talking, doing his reaction.
Okay.
Look at Diggs. Look at the last 10 weeks of the season for him. Look at how many fantasy points he scored. How many yards he had. He wasn't very good at the end of the year. Okay.
Hold on 1 second. Let me
I'll tell you why I like this take. I don't know if I agree. I like the process of getting here. I like the process of like, if everyone thinks one thing, it's probably not right. I like that.
Can be. That's fair. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
And the other part of this take that I like is that I like thinking about, I don't know how to stop him, but I bet somebody does. Like, I don't know the answer, but I swear someone does.
Somebody getting paid more than us.
Stop. I relate to that take. So I don't know. I feel like Stroud is good, but I make a different list. I'm looking through a different lens. So I think I want to jump on if there's a way to jump on the bandwagon.
Hey, welcome aboard.
I'll hitch up to you. So it's a good take. I don't have any football science to back it.
I have definitely some more to add to this. But first of all,
cancel the video. I need a couple hours.
Yeah, there could be. This could take some time.
Can I call you guys?
Yeah, it's a good thing we started early this evening. Because there are definitely some things I need to get off my chest. First of all, I agree with Mick 100%. I love the thought process of where you're at, Chris. That part I can't discount. And a lot of times that is the good way to think, to go against the grain. But the problem is it's hard. Like it's very specific of which ones of those scenarios are right. And whatever context or person or team, whatever you're talking about, it only happens maybe a tenth of the time or something like that. A lot of times sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire, right? But not always to go against the grain is necessarily the good play, even though it might seem, newsworthy. But nonetheless, I did just look just now about Mr. Diggs. Definitely a declining performance towards the back half of the year. But there's a reason for that. Because there was a circus clown playing quarterback for them.
Josh Allen?
Yes.
What's the word? The service call?
Is this a transition list?
Yes, he turned into one. Or what's the Cinderella? I'm trying to remember.
Best transition of all time.
Like at midnight when the carousel and everything, it turns to I'm trying to remember from my childhood. It's been quite some long time now.
When turns
yes, exactly. That's what I'm looking for. My mind is just I can't even take this right now. That's how how bothered I am by this. As far as there's just Allen really pressed towards the end of the season. He tried to make something of what he wasn't. I feel, and they were clearly something was definitely disconnected. The body language, you could tell with watching the games, that something was off between Diggs and Allen. And I don't blame Diggs, and why I don't is because while Diggs, I'm sure, made some mistakes in that, but it seemed like to me more often than not that I watched, it was Allen just trying to squeeze balls into where they didn't belong or not interpreting where his receivers were going to be, and something just seemed off. And while Diggs might be on the decline, who knows? A lot of times when athletes hit their pinnacle, sometimes it's not like a gradual decline. Sometimes it is like running off a cliff, like Ocho Cinco. Mm-hmm. Like after he left Cincinnati, he disappeared. He was basically like Casper the Ghost. But nonetheless, I don't think that's what's happening with Diggs. And I really think it's really more about Allen and how bad he became. And he was the Joker. I mean, he turned into the Joker. A joke for everybody, for the city of Buffalo, the NFL. It's just he never beat Mahomes, and he came back down after that, and he hasn't recovered. And I think it's more about that and speaks to Diggs's decline of production than it actually does about Diggs himself. And I think he's going to be resurrected in Houston because they have a lot of good playmakers around them, and you don't even have to be perfect when you have that many playmakers. As long as you're just doing what you're supposed to do, you're going to be successful. And that's why while the process and as far as the strategy behind it, I agree with that because it's along the right track for finding something that is very valuable and good to know. But in this case, I don't think there's anything there. I think Stroud's destined for great things, and who knows how big of a step he takes, but he won't be held back by Diggs. Diggs is going to help him get there, and he is the best on that team.
I did not even think about that possibility.
What's that?
Of Allen being the problem, not Diggs.
Really?
Are you saying that I should have put Allen on the bus list?
Yes.
Yes.
Is he on the red list?
He nearly was.
Nearly was.
But I felt there was somebody. I felt there was somebody else that really needed. There was a PSA that I probably more heated about during that discussion. But
I need to transition right into it.
I'm not going to slow you down anymore. Just go.
I'm on the edge of my seat. Come on.
Okay. It is none other for the red list for me. And I did the same players as Mick. A couple additions at the very end for other positions, but I followed the same template here or blueprint. But the red list for quarterback is none other than Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about circus clowns. I mean, he is like the head of the Barnum and Bailey's, the ads, they should just put him on there because that's what he is. And they should be, probably another McDonald's could probably use him for the hamburger for stealing money. I mean, my God, the guy is not worthy of it. I don't know what they were thinking with signing him. And granted, it maybe not be 100% of his fault, but that team has problems, and so does he. he's on the red list primarily because, one, his performance has decreased. The only thing that's really increased that I saw was his completion percentage, but that's because he's only dinking and dunking. I mean, like the fans could probably make those throws. But the problem is his yards and touchdowns are decreasing, which is really where your production's measured by. And they're not winning games. That's a whole other conversation. But they've also lost their best playmaker in Saquon Barkley. And if they couldn't figure it out with him, then is Devin Singletary the answer? I don't think so. Okay, that's what we're dealing with here. And the offensive line is garbage. So it's setting up for a disaster. And oh yeah, Mike, you'll be proud of this. Okay. They allowed 85 sacks last season, second most in NFL history.
It is. Holy hell.
The more you look, the more problems you see. And Josh, this is for you, young man, my son.
Look at the camera.
These takes are getting hot. I got to take my jacket off.
Yes, it is. Please, I'm begging you. Do not draft him.
Straight to the camera.
Yes, I'm begging you. Do not draft him, please. He is trouble. It's not worth it. And ESPN's going to reject it. Axe app is going to reject it if you try it. So just please don't do it. He is not worth it. I don't care if he's the last quarterback. You take that loss. You take that draft pick going down or losing it because it's not worth your mental well-being. It's just not. And
can you guys clip that part where you tell Josh not to draft him? Can you clip that so we have that and we can send it to him in the moment so he knows not to do it?
I've got a feeling that you can have like 10 more of those in the clips.
Probably. I'm sure we can do it after I'm sure we can do that afterward. I'm sure it can be done. But I just, while I am the pops of the group for sure, no matter who's having kids or not, I am the pops or grandpops, however you want to word it. But sometimes I got to pull the young man. I usually say young man about players, but sometimes I got to use young man about some of my sons. A parent doesn't stop being a parent. And this is where clearly this is bad. If anybody even thinking about drafting him or picking him up even, like regardless, just stay away. And that's why while Allen was nearly on the red list, I felt that this was more important to address in this spot because of those reasons. What are your thoughts, fellas? Whoever would like to go first.
I watched the Hard Knocks of the Giants this offseason. Did you watch it?
No, I'm sorry you watched it though.
It's all about the GM, and he is an absolute disaster. So I think however bad the Giants were last year, they're going to be 10 times worse. They're not getting any better anytime soon. So I think you're spot on. I think Daniel Jones is.
They should probably just start drinking cider right now. That's what you're telling me.
I was trying to make a joke with Josh's team name, Pit of Misery, but I couldn't get there.
It's such a good take, and I feel like everybody feels like they know it for like the last 4 years, but there always still seems like a glimmer of hope about him.
Yes.
Last year, we knew for so long that he's all the things that guy said. And then Josh was like first round.
Let's get in Josh's head. Let's get in Josh's head here. It's the third round, and he forgot to take a quarterback. He doesn't have one.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Oh, Daniel Jones is falling. Should I take him?" What do you have to say to him there, Fish? He's thinking this is a steal. He fell late. He fell after he was supposed to go.
There's not enough words or the volume at which I could raise my voice or any of that nature. I would have to just do. You remember, Chris, how like when the Trailer Park Boys were on, you would just go in the bathroom. You remember that, right? When we used to play that clip, you couldn't stand it. You just walked out of the room, went into the bathroom.
What was the clip?
Or just Trailer Park Boys, just that show.
Oh yeah, just in general, yeah.
Yes, you would just walk out of the room.
I remember I didn't like it. Yeah.
Yes, that's what I would just walk out. I would just walk out, take a minute for myself because there's nothing I can really say that can change anything. And I got to make sure for the fans out there. I was fooled by Mr. Jones too. Josh is not the only person, but the thing that separates Josh and I, Josh then saw my mistake, saw another year of his absurd, statistics and Jones, and then chose to draft him in the first round again. And I remember glaring at him, and I pulled him aside and was like, "What are you doing here?" And that's why I don't want that to happen again. I do not want history does repeat itself from time to time, but it does not need to, nor should it in this case. And I'm adamant about it. And so there's nothing I could really say because I've said everything here, but I would just walk out of the room for a minute and just take my time, and take a minute and come back in and hope I got punked. That's really all I can do about it. There's nothing much else I can say.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Thank you. I feel better now getting off that. I've been thinking about. I've been toying with it for weeks whether or not to set. Actually, I was between three people. It was between Chris, who he didn't keep. That individual.
Mr. Herbert.
Mm-hmm. He was almost on there, but I was like, you know what? It's not quite that bad. And then I was like, well, what about? Then I was kind of stuck between Allen, and I was like, well, he's still got game, but he has problems that he needs to address, and that's not as bad. At least there's some ability there. But Jones, like he should be doing journal entries with me. That's what he should be doing. And then I would have to review even closer because he'd probably get it wrong anyway. But nonetheless, that's where I think Jones was the necessary evil in this, and I just feel better getting off my chest. And thank you both for being the sounding board for that. And we'll see what the fans have to say. But those are my thoughts.
You warmed up?
I am.
I think we're warmed up.
Your shoulders dropped when you got rid of all of that. You're just like, your neck.
It's been a lot. I've been keeping it. Thank you. I feel better now. I really do. I've been thinking about it for a while. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think mix up now.
I think I'm up.
Back to him. Yes.
All right. I feel like this is a league winning player. What is there to say about him? I think the reason I think in our draft we'll see him as like a fifth round pick. And I think the reason for that is that he is the backup behind a running back who was severely injured last season. And I think that we are a little too optimistic about the timetable. Any guesses? Oh
no. I hope it's not who I think it is. I'm not making a guess, but I just hope it's not this person.
It's Mr. Jay Ford, Cleveland Browns.
Oh, all right, you're good.
Okay. Who are you thinking?
I don't know.
I can't reveal that at this time.
Okay.
But it will be revealed in time.
I don't think we've ever had a clash where there was a Truzz List player and a Red List player.
Now, I could say the same thing about Chris today, but that take in the beginning, I think he was setting me up. I don't even know if he believes that. I think he was just saying it to get me riled up.
I'm picking Jerome Ford. I think I might do an into the camera thing. I think I think the Browns line is really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Chubb got really hurt, and because he like does cool stuff in squats, we're like, he's back.
Yes.
That was week 2 of last year. So I feel like even if he comes back feeling good, there's still going to be a pretty even split there. So Jay Ford, if you're messing around in the 3rd round, chugging beers, racing little guys, and you don't have this guy on your team yet, write it on your hand, buddy. Jay Ford to Jay Ford. If you kept Nick Chubb, we don't know when he's going to be back. Yeah. I want Jay Ford with Jay Ford 2024. That's it.
Fish?
I completely agree with this. I like that pick a lot. Ford's not a bad player at all. Neither the owner nor the player. Both are fine people. There's good people all around, but nonetheless, the Browns' offensive line is good. Like Mike said, I would align myself with that. And while Chubb is definitely a stud, he's been injured, and there's no secret about that. And it's a shame because he seems like one of the good guys, somebody you really want to root for. And it's a shame when you see people like that fall down to injury and have amazing talent, and there's not much they can do other than hopefully make a comeback later and recoup after time. But regardless of which, he's not going to be what he was. Can he still be productive? Yes, but that's furthermore, besides just the offensive line, Ford demonstrated that he can get the job done. And I think there's, like Mike said, there's at least a split, if not more. And we don't know about Chubb's health, so I think you can trust that Ford's going to do well this year and be productive. And is he RB1? I don't think so, but he's definitely not like a 3 or a flex. He's solid. You can depend on him, and that's what this list is. And I agree with it completely. So no clashing, Nick. We're good.
Okay. You worried me.
I like it. I do agree. I'm scared of this backfield because Chubb could come back, take over. I don't think he will, though, but I think Ford is better than just being a straight backup. And I'm not a math guy, but I'm wondering if 2 halves, they might not equal a whole here. because you might not want just half of this backfield. Because I could see where they both get 70 yards and no touchdowns, and then what are you going to do with those 7 points?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We've done before. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. We've seen it done.
that's a good point.
Here's what I wrote down. No, 10 times. 10 times Jerome Ford scored double-digit points last year.
Yeah, but without Nick Chubb.
And that's 10 or more. Above 9.9, 10 times.
Yeah, but without Mr. Chubb. Now that Mr. Chubb's back, he's going to wiggle his way in there and get some touches.
Yeah.
Yes.
I trust him. I don't know.
I do too. While we're on the subject, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with the massage parlor guy, or if he's going to be the guy, or is somebody else going to be the guy. But while I say that, while it is the passing game, it does set up the running game, and I'm interested if you guys think that has anything, if that should be taken into consideration. Some offenses more so than others, but the line is so good, so I don't know necessarily how much it does, but I feel like whoever plays quarterback for them, as long as they're solid, that's just that much more. I think that helps Ford even more, because if their passing game's good and it sets up the run, it makes that offensive line even better than they were. But I just would like to get both your thoughts if that has if that would have any impact on your decision and your outlook for this prediction.
Well, if the diddler's too good, then they might not run as much anyway. They might pass it more.
Could happen, yes.
Could also hurt.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Mike?
It factored in. I don't know. I don't know what to think of the quarterback situation. I don't know if it's going to make a big difference.
That's fair. Yep. That's fair too.
Yeah, I think he's a different, like Deshaun Watson isn't Deshaun Watson. Even if he plays and is good, it's not. It's like I feel like it's a different guy now. I think his brain has got broke. The internet and the publicity broke his brain.
Do you think he owns a massage parlor? Or
he probably does have to go private now. He's probably hard to book.
Yeah, I would think so. Interesting. Maybe some entrepreneurship in his future, but nonetheless, he's going to have somebody there in the backfield running the ball for him if he's the guy. But nonetheless, a decent situation there for Cleveland. Just who's going to be there. But like Chris said, from a fantasy, that's my biggest takeaway from this, and I love that take. Is I don't know, like, do you want half of one if both don't equal a whole? I could see that, where I know like the Ravens have had that issue in the past with like owning one of their players, and you kind of have to guess like which one's going to go off that week between like Hill, Dobbins when he's available, and then Gus the Bus back in previous before we got Henry, and that's where I resonate with that. I definitely understand his point, and all great points here, and shouldn't not be forgotten or lost because they are very important.
The headline is I'm not betting on injuries healing fast. That's a hard one.
You just can't, especially with a running back, because they get hit quite a lot. So,
all right,
it's scary.
All right. So I think Fish's final point there about the Ravens backfield is a nice little transition to the next Bustless player, which if Fish, you weren't mad before, you might be mad now.
Okay.
The Bustless running back is Derrick Henry of the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh my God. Yep. He took his headset off. I said not to mention Christmas, but I do it at all.
Oh, the hat's on backwards.
Continue.
The hat's on backwards. Derrick Henry.
That's same bar floor too.
He's old. He's slow. He's had over 2,000 career touches. That's a lot of wear and tear. And then he enters his Ravens team, who has an emerging Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews is back. They're ready to throw the ball. This team is not the Tennessee Titans of old, where they ground and pound every single play, and Derrick Henry gets 2,000 yards and 20 touchdowns. This is a high-flying Ravens team. They're going to be throwing the ball deep. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot. I don't think there's much room for Derrick Henry on this offense. I think he's going to score a couple touchdowns here and there, but Lamar's going to steal a lot of the rushing work. He's not efficient enough. He needs to be on a team where they play slow. They want to run the ball 4 yards every play. That's how he gets his production. This team's not going to do that. Derrick Henry's a bust.
Right. Bold as ever. I think
I admire the boldness.
If he gets hurt, you're right. If he gets injured, because he's old. That's a pretty good take. But did he get slower? I don't know. I feel like he looks the same.
I don't know.
I just think people like because he's older, we think, or is he just older but also the same?
He's older. He's going just that's so many touches. 2,000 career times he's been tackled.
Yeah.
Or tried to have been tackled.
Yeah. But like here's a counterpoint. Gus Edwards. I don't think he's Derrick. Like he's not 40-year-old Derrick Henry, right? Gus Edwards scored, I think, 18 touchdowns. You don't think Derrick Henry might be able to scoop 15 in there?
Nope.
All right. That's my hey, he might be old.
Who else do they have back there? Keaton Mitchell. And then they drafted a guy.
Justice Hill.
Justice Hill.
It's those three.
I don't know. I'm out.
All right.
He'll go in the first, probably a round or two of our draft.
If your method is that he's old and he might get hurt, that's a good method.
And the offense isn't going to revolve around him like the other offenses.
Okay. Yeah. I disagree, but it might be true. Dual threat quarterback.
Yeah, he's going to take all the running work.
Maybe.
Lamar is faster than Derrick Henry, I think. I don't think that's a good sign for a running back.
I think that says more about Lamar than Derrick Henry.
Yeah, but it's not good for Henry either.
Yeah, I mean, dude, imagine if he was as fast as Lamar. Yeah. I've said my piece. Fish, what do you think?
I wonder if Chris believes what he's saying today. And at this establishment that you were at this evening, I'm not sure what they served you, or Chris, really. Mick seems fine, but I'm not sure what they served Chris. But I'm going to have a discussion with their general manager to see what their practices are, what they pour into their glasses or put in their food. I'm not sure, where this absurdity has come from. But quite frankly, I just I don't see it. I somewhat understand the pace of play argument to take into consideration, but I would never say it's enough to say that Derrick Henry's a bust. And why I say that is because whatever he lacks in the volume category, he will make up in basically being a vulture on the goal line. I do think they're going to try and emulate kind of what the Eagles were talking about, where all offseason they've been talking about how Hurts will not that he won't run as much, is that they're not going to put him in as many situations where he's going to get hit, which if you're rushing near the goal line, you're going to get hit. They don't want that to happen. I think Henry's, whatever he loses as far as touches, he will make up for in vulture touchdowns. So I think he's covered there. And also I do think the Ravens want to kind of emulate what the Chiefs are doing, where they can play fast and they can play slow, and they cover themselves with getting Henry, and he's not going to miss a beat. And granted, is it going to be exactly like the Titans, how they featured him? I don't know about that, but I don't think it's enough to say he's a bust. And I still think Henry's going to produce Henry-like numbers. It just might come in more bunches. And that's where that's just how I see it. I don't envision Henry, like you said, 15 touchdowns sounds about right. And give or take, maybe because of injury or game flow, things of that nature, but it'll be roughly around there. I don't see how he gets a lot less unless he gets an injury, which is unforeseen and unfortunate. But old and slow, like Mike said, I don't know how much slower he's really gotten, and I think it complements the team, and he'll have enough of a role to justify not being on the bust list. And that's my take. Well, what did you have at this place, Mr. Chris?
Whiskey.
What did
Are you sure?
Bullshit.
Yeah, the alcohol's got the truth coming out.
I don't know. I need to talk to the bartender or somebody, general manager of this app, something. They put something in you. Something's not right.
The carries aren't going to be there. I don't want to rely on touchdowns. That's a lot to ask.
Oh, I can understand that. But
give us some rankings. Call your shot. Give us Derrick Henry running back ranking.
25.
Okay. That's a bust.
Yep, that's a bust. Fish's face.
I'm excited for the next evolution of the hat. He was so mad he turned it back.
25.
By 8 o'clock, his hat's going to be on fire.
25. So you think he's going to be next? You think he's going to be ranked above where this next guy that I have that I'm about to say? Is that a good transition?
That's a riddle.
Yeah, it's a riddle.
You get $20 if you can get it. Next fish, what that means.
Yes. Yeah. So my second red list individual is not it. They're on this list because not really anything to do with them personally. It's the situation that they're in, and they are certainly not in a position to succeed nor really score at all. And that's Devin Singletary of the New York Giants. That team is a dumpster fire. Granted, he might be the number one running back on their roster, but he won't be number one in anybody's hearts. That's definitely the truth. Despite getting consistent rushing attempts, or he will. Over the years, he's gotten consistent rushing attempts when he's healthy. Despite getting that, there's not going to be many scoring opportunities, like I mentioned. And something interesting that I found digging deep about him, he's also never surpassed 40 catches nor more than 300 receiving yards in his career. And that's the only way I see a running back having production out of that offense. And guess who the person that did have that production and where they are now? Not on that roster. They're gone. And he was way better than Singletary. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to expect for him. And it's nothing against Singletary. It's just it doesn't make sense. And it speaks to the point of the general manager not knowing what pieces he's bringing in and why. And besides that, it's just not a good look. And there was something even I won't show the article. It's not worthy of eyes. But nonetheless, I read where supposedly he's connected with somebody in the organization that he's resurrecting with from the past. And all that sounds great and everything, but if your offensive line can't block, if you're not as good of a playmaker as the person was before and they couldn't do anything then you're in a bad situation. And that's where this is a bust. And Singletary, I still see kind of being in the mid-20s, and I see Henry being way, way above that. Now, I don't think he's going to be top 10. I don't agree with that, but definitely he'll rank ahead of Devin Singletary. Are you willing to say, Mr. Chris, that Henry will finish either tied with Singletary or behind him?
No, I think he'll be ahead of Singletary.
But hold on, but you get plus 500 odds.
Can I call Josh to get the EV on that?
Yeah, get the EV on.
That's fair.
Singletary finishing higher than Henry. Plus 500.
All right, plus 500. I'll take it.
All right.
All right, Fish. I don't know if this is going to change your opinion on him, but this is something I learned in the Hard Knocks show because it was about the Giants and they
should have negotiated that.
His nickname is Motor.
Uh-oh.
Is that a good nickname or does that hurt his case?
I don't think it hurts him, but I don't think it helps him either.
No. You don't like the little motor, the guy that just keeps going?
I mean, think about it. If you have a motor and you're up against a sandbar, right? You're not going to get through the sandbar, right?
Wait, can you turn the head around? Sandbar.
Sorry, I forgot.
He was paid $10. He has to say sandbar 10 times in this video.
Sandbar.
He's only done 3,
sandbar.
but you have to work it into conversation. I know. I'm on the legal team.
Yes, absolutely. Always got to watch our P's and Q's. But if you're in shallow water, about to get to a sandbar, and you're trying to go around it, and you can't get around it, and you think you can get over it, you're eventually gonna hit soil. You can't motor through soil, and the equivalent of that is that offensive line, they can't block. So he's not going to be able to get past them because the defenders are going to be in his backfield quite consistently. So that's where I don't know what opportunity, even how strong or how much of a motor he has. It's not even him personally. It's just that situation is horrible. And they're not going to be in a situation where they can run consistently because they're going to be behind early often to where he's not going to have so much opportunity. And then if he's not able to catch the ball consistently out of the backfield, then I don't like the setup at all. Where the motor part doesn't hurt or help him, but I don't like it for him, that situation.
Do you think there's a chance that Daniel Jones gets out of the boat and pushes the motor over the sandbar?
The only way he's going out of the boat is that if he gets thrown out and he never comes back on board. And hopefully he can swim to shore. Because that's as far as he wouldn't if he's getting in the water, he's not coming back on the boat and not helping in any way. He's getting off the boat and he's the tide's taking him out because that's where he belongs. That's my take on that.
I think this is a good take. I have to point something out, and it's about how we all get older and we change.
Mhm.
When you started talking about Devin Singletary, you said that he shouldn't take it personally.
Yes.
That's growth by you. Usually the red list, it's personal.
Thank you. I didn't even think about that. Thank you.
It's you
Makes me feel
you
good.
want addresses, family names, the dog's name. It's personal.
Yeah, and it really it's I like him as a player. I really feel I guess why I'm upset by it is because that I had to do this is because the situation is just so bad to where it's putting decent players into I call him a decent player. I think he's middle of the road. And he could be very productive in this situation if they had a competent supporting cast around him, but they just don't. And that's where this is definitely an anomaly where sometimes the red list, yeah, it's personal, but the growth is definitely there, like you said. And this is one of those anomalies or situations where it shouldn't be taken personal. But him, if he's watching this for whatever reason, I apologize ahead of time, and I really hope you don't take it personal. But your employer just sucks. That's just the way it is to it. And if they were out in the if they could be bankrupt, they would be because they just are horrible. But you have people like Act that still want to show up to the games and support them when they really should not be supported.
And let the record show that Daniel Jones was personal. That one was personal.
Oh, that was absolutely personal because he screwed me over. And I would like to talk to him sometime. Mr. Jones, if you're watching, I would like to have a discussion with you sometime. Maybe at the bar that Chris and Mick went to beforehand, because maybe whatever they could serve you could maybe make you a competent quarterback. Because whatever you're doing now isn't helping you, at all. So it's worth a shot as far as I'm concerned. And if not, maybe we could talk about some employment opportunities in my department. That's all I have.
Well said.
Thank you.
Truzz List RB2. This is my dart throw of the Truzz List. It's the Tank Dell of last year. And with my dart throw, I don't want to watch the screen, but what I hope to do is toward the end, I see his eyebrows go up and he thinks, and I can see him thinking. I don't know if I'll get by him, but I do want you guys thinking about this one because this makes sense to me. The story of it makes sense. So this is just a rookie 6th round pick out of a school called Troy. Here's the first thing that caught as I was looking at some of the rookie tape. Pacheco like. Now we're listening. Rookie 6th round pick, Pacheco like out of Troy, where he scored 33 touchdowns. This guy's on the San Diego, the Los Angeles Chargers. Do you know this name? Kimani?
I know. Mm-hmm.
And here's why I like it. Doesn't this kind of make sense? So the Chargers have the same 2 running backs that the Ravens had last year. So John just sent these 2 guys over to Jim. Doesn't that seem like he'd be like,
and the pig,
right? Doesn't that seem like he's like, oh, Jim, you got to get Gus. This guy's awesome, and it's a trick. It's like you got to get Dobbin. You'll love this guy. And I don't feel like Jim Harbaugh is patient with guys who are hurt. He's like, this guy didn't practice. He doesn't play. I don't practice. You got to practice. You got if you want to play. So as these guys, just JK is hurt, as Gus, I think Gus is injured too. I can see a guy who, by the way, I can see that's a fun name to yell. Kamani!
I want to hear Fish yell it.
Kamani! How's it spelled?
Kimani. I hope I'm saying it right.
Yeah, and if we're not, we'll wait after a year to see if we care. Because if you're good, we care. If not,
I don't think I'll draft him, but he's top of the watch list, and I think that's okay. I think you can throw a shot at your number 1 watch list player.
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I mean, I definitely we know Dobbins. I think wasn't it last year where he was on the Truzz List last year?
Mm-hmm. No, 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yes, yeah. And I remember we were speaking about it, and I'm like, he's not going to turn out.
Right.
He ended up not turning out, but like you said, Mick, he's continuously injured. He's injured now, combined with the head coach that is not patient with that kind of, just the whole mindset. It doesn't align, right?
No.
where he could probably take ownership of that backfield because the pig likes to run the ball. Like the pig likes to roast, he likes to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all. That's really that bottom line. So you're really simplifying, taking the other things out that don't matter. You're cutting through the noise, and you're getting down. You're simplifying it, which I love. So I love this take, and I agree.
Is John the older brother?
Yes.
Okay, that I feel like that's like the classic older brother prank.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And some
saying.
bad players to him.
It's like, oh, you're gonna love these two guys.
Yeah, that sounds like an older brother.
And they're
movie.
always hurt. And it's like, well, who else is there?
Mhm.
Kimani Vidal.
That's
like
a great. It is a great name.
And Fish, can you guess who their offensive coordinator is?
No, he's been talking about the pig for the last 10 minutes.
Well, that's the pig.
Oh, is that his name?
Yeah,
Well, that's what I call it.
Yeah, that guy likes to run the ball. They're gonna run the ball.
Chris doesn't
He's
know
he's a greedy pig. I can't even say he's a greedy little pig because he's not a little pig. He's a big greedy pig.
Wait,
That
how did
that
he
likes
get
to-
that name?
that likes to steal our hopes and dreams, and he ruined the Ravens, and he'll ruin the Chargers too. But this
But he
young
runs
man
the ball.
will get opportunity. But what's that?
He runs the ball a lot, right?
Yes, which is why I like this.
Yeah.
But he's going to run that team into the ground. That's what they don't understand. So I don't even know why the pig's employed.
So is that why Herbert was almost a red list guy?
Yes, absolutely.
Big.
Yes.
I should have known that.
Oh, it's all right. I heard him squeaking from San Diego, from here.
You should have
That's
reached out to me and let me know.
Well, you decided on your own that you were going to
I did.
not keep him. So I was very happy. I think I gave you a thumbs up on that. That was my little subliminal, good work on that because, yeah, I feel bad for Chargers fans too because they think they're getting a hardball and they don't know about this pig that they have that's going to ruin their whole team for them.
Family pig.
The family pig, and and they don't have any proven receivers either. So they're going to be even more try to rely and be stubborn on the run game, which those guys that are injured around him aren't going to really stand a chance. So I like this for Mick even more because of that. But then it speaks to your point, Chris. You didn't keep Herbert, so it's kind of cool how this all kind of interconnects when you think about it. And then somebody brings up a different perspective that you didn't otherwise consider, and now we're here. And that's like the best part about these kinds of videos is this right here where things come up during the discussion.
Wait, so how did he get the nickname the pig? Was that from you or is that all Ravens fans?
Oh no, I think it was Kamish and myself because we were talking about.
Was this in the flock group chat?
Yes.
Oh, you gotta let me in there.
You're not in there? I thought you were.
Let me flock around. I want to flock
All right.
around.
I'll take care of that right now.
I like that you're just listening for 5 minutes of him talk about the pig, and you're like, "Who this guy is?"
I heard him say the pig, and I was like, "Oh, I don't know what that means."
Like Fish has just invented a new character. Great.
Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse anybody. It's just if you can tell, I'm not a big fan of the pig.
He looks like he's getting text from the owners, like Chef on a call.
Stop talking.
I just typed pig in my phone. That's how upset I am. Buddy.
Wild rumor about who's on the block. All right, Red
Done,
list.
Chris.
No, bus list. Oh, thanks,
All right,
Pops.
bus list.
I'm ready to flock around. All right. The next bus list running back. This guy, he's not a keeper, but he probably would have been kept if he was on any other team. He was on one of the playoff teams.
Mm-hmm.
He finished as the RB5 last year. He has a brilliant head coach. He's going in the top 20 of all regular drafts. This next bus list running back is the bus that I'm the most certain about out of anyone. This is Kyron Williams.
Kyron Williams. Wow.
Kyron Williams. Bust. He was a 5th round pick last year. He's small. He's unathletic. He's a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah. He leaves his card out by his car at the grocery store.
Dude, what happened?
Card away.
What did he do?
He gives his card away after he shops, after he gets his groceries and unloads his car. He leaves his cart right by the car instead of putting it in the corral. Kyron Williams does.
Yeah, see, we don't like him, Fish.
No, we don't like that at all. That kind of behavior.
He scored a lot of points last year because he was the last man standing. It was supposed to be Cam Akers' backfield. He got hurt. There was no one else there, so Kyron gets all of the touches. And this year they drafted a rookie in the 3rd round. If you were so happy with your running back who just had a good year, you would not draft his replacement in the 3rd round. But they drafted.
Why is she liking his picks though, dude? They're so happy together.
He's looking for someone else.
Yeah.
So they drafted a guy. But we've seen it before where some unknown running back pops up out of nowhere, does good for 10 games, and then disappears forever. You guys remember CJ Anderson? Same thing.
Hold on, I was trying to think of one.
Don't Forsett it, Justin Forsett.
Oh, how about this one? Joseph Randall.
Yeah, see?
I remember he scored 3 touchdowns for me one time.
These running backs, they
Joseph
pop
Randall?
up out of nowhere, they flash, and then they disappear. And I think by the end of the year, Blake Corum, the new rookie, he's going to be the starter. Not because Kyron got hurt, but just because he's not that good.
Joseph Randall.
I've never been so sure of a bust in my life. Kyron Williams, you're a bust. You're going to finish RB 30.
Go ahead, Ty, man. You start.
Chris, I'm just, whatever you had at that restaurant is definitely, it's actually a good thing. It's going through your system now, and everything's returning to normal. I agree with this. I love it. I could see it too. Not that I still think Williams is good, but maybe the other gentleman that's coming up is better. And like you said, we have seen other running backs in the past that do naturally regress. And that type of position anyway, it's very tough on guys, and it seems their shelf life is shorter in general. So if you're really not the cream of the crop, you're even more replaceable than any other position on the field. And I could just see it. It's kind of prime for a bust spot. I could see why you put him on here, and I'm aligned with that. I don't have anything to dispute that whatsoever. So I'm glad you're feeling better, Chris.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember he just kept doing it. Like it's like 2 touchdowns again. And I don't think I ever saw him play, so I was like, but he kept doing it. So I'm like, so I've actually come around to the point. I think I used to feel like this, but then he kept doing it and doing it. I was like, I think I'm just not very smart. I think I don't know anything about football. He's been one of those guys for me. So I want to think I used to be right, but I think I've seen too much, and I kind of believe it. But I was thinking about getting it.
What pick are you?
9 and 12.
So I feel like he'll be gone by then. I think people really like him.
You think so?
I think he'll be at like a top 3 or 4.
I'm just thinking about kind of what my plans will be. Yeah, I don't know. They got the 3rd round guy from Michigan, right? For him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they still don't seem like they should be. I don't know. The Rams don't seem like they should be good.
Pops.
I feel like they kept over. It felt like they were overperforming.
Maybe a little bit, but I think they're well coached, so I think they have a chance to. They always have a chance to return to that. But some overperformance, yes, but I think it could happen again because of their coach. But regardless, I agree with Chris's pick completely, and I have nothing to dispute it. The Rams, but it wouldn't surprise me if they don't make it, but it wouldn't surprise me if they do because of how well they're coached, which is kind of the X factor where it's hard. Like, who the good coaches are, like who's a pig and who's not. We know, right? But it's still the players themselves are so good and such the top of their game and at a totally different level than society of people that have ever laced up before, that they can sometimes overcome the bad coaching. And then with great coaching, they could be accelerated even more, even if they're not the best of the best. So it's hard to necessarily tell, but I think definitely that backfield is primed for somebody else to take control of it. And it wouldn't surprise, like Chris, you said it was a 5th round pick?
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? I mean, Brady was a later round pick, and look how great he was, but different position. But then we've seen plenty of 5th, 6th, whatever that don't pan out to be anything. So it's still early in his career where anything can happen. So I have no issues with this whatsoever.
Makes sense in my head, but
we'll see what happens. That's the beauty of it. We get to predict about it and talk about it, discuss it, open our minds up to other things, but then we get to watch it all unfold for several months.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. It's good stuff.
All right, Red List.
Yeah. I'm not happy about this one, but it had to be done. Had to be taken out to pasture. It's that time. None other than Najee Harris.
Mm-hmm.
I would avoid him like the plague. And why I say it is because while again it's tough for me, he's regressed every season in terms of your production, touches, everything. He's just regressed. He looks even just the eye test. A lot of people sometimes the one thing I would kind of say as far as like when analyzing fantasy football, regardless of how good you are, whether it's daily or it's season long, I feel like everybody as a fantasy player sometimes overlooks the eye test. Just old fashioned, throw stats out the window, how they look to you. And like Mr. Chris, you were saying that, Henry was looks slow. I really think who you meant to say was slow was Mr. Harris.
He is slow. He's very slow.
Because he is very, very stuck in the mud. You guys remember, I'm going to switch to another sport for a second to make my point, but you remember Jay Gibbons of the Orioles?
Mm-hmm.
I was standing in line one time waiting for my chicken tenders and fries. I remember this at Camden Yards, back when the tickets were less than the beer. And I couldn't drink then, but I remember seeing the price difference, and I was like, okay, what's going on here? Yeah. You know where this is going?
No.
Well,
you've heard this one before, right?
Well, buckle up because it's about to get bumpy. Nonetheless, I was waiting for my food, right? And the guy behind me is like, run, you lard ass, run. And he's talking about Gibbons. You know how they have the TVs right at the concession stand? I didn't see, but he hit a ground ball deep into the hole between short. I think it was that hole. And then he then backhanded it and made a great play. Yeah. The guy was Gibbons was maybe 2/3 the way down the line. Like somebody where anybody else would have beaten it out.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly, he's sluggish. But that is how slow Harris is and how he's become. And if you're in any of that category with Gibbons, then that's just not good. And how I get it back to football is besides of how slow he is in the eye test, how important that is, that's over. I know some folks need a moment here, but I promise.
It's fantasy football.
But I promise, stay with me. But the point is that sometimes you do just have to take a step back and not get so worried about stats and just look and be like, that guy is slow as shit. Yeah. Like molasses would run faster out of a tree. And that's what you got to understand. Something crazy as that, or somebody, you're waiting for your chicken fingers and the guy's slow as shit running down the line. Regardless, where sometimes you just have to not ignore what's in front of you and just say, there's a problem here. I am not drafting him. Abort mission. And that's what I promise for anybody thinking about drafting him or picking him up. Do not do it. Besides his touches decreasing overall, and Harris I'm talking about. Now I'm back to football. Besides the eye test, Jaylen Warren has been quietly or in an underrated fashion. His stats have been on the incline, on the increase. And I think there's something, I don't know if Harris and Tomlin have a good relationship or something, and he's just hesitant to go with Warren, but I think there's a huge problem here. And kind of like how Chris was saying, where he's worried about the speed for the Ravens. I think the Steelers want to speed things up a little bit. I actually do, where I think they played too slow a lot of the season, and they're looking to really pick up the pace. And I think the only way to do that is with Warren and to go into the trend, because over the last 2 years, his touches and his production have increased. So why not go into that when he's also looked like the better running back? And he's heading in his third year. He's still employed with the team. He's got game. Why not go into that? I could definitely see them going that direction. So I can't trust Harris, and it's a shame because I liked him. I drafted him because I was so bad. I always had near the first pick, and I drafted him and I trusted him. And he let me down. And it's not just that it's personal. It's also that there's clearly an issue here with Harris, and it should not be ignored. That's the point I'm trying to make. Who'd like to follow up on that?
Mm-hmm.
Mike?
But yes, I will say
you say about looks. He looks slow, but he also looks cool. You know what I mean? He's one of those players with the uniform and hair. He looks
slow,
cool,
yes.
but he is slow.
Yes.
I agree. I don't think he missed a lot. maybe I'll add that I think the Steelers are going to play games that are like 12-9. It's like, well, where's your touchdown? And he's gonna get 45 yards. I just feel like not a lot of touchdowns in general. Steelers. So I'd add that, and I think it's a really good pick.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, this is where I'm showing my age a little bit. Like, I feel like when I was younger, I liked the super fast, fun running backs. But I think now that I'm getting older, I don't like Najee Harris, and I think I might draft him in the 10th round, and I might throw up in my mouth when I do it. But I know he's going to get like 10, 15 carries and 70 yards every game, and it's not sexy. It's pretty gross. But if you get him late in the draft, you're just kind of like, I got to take my medicine. There's 7 points, and I got to be happy with it. I don't know. Like, I feel like he's not good. I'll never say he's good. He is very slow. But if they're going to hand him the ball and I can get him late in the draft, I think that's like, it's gross, but sometimes you just got to take your medicine and get that bad running back.
As you're saying, it's a high floor pick.
No, it's a low floor pick. It's a low floor, low ceiling. But if it's so late, like, I feel like he's going to go very late.
Well, but sometimes there's a guy who's like the top 12 guys just fall out and like they're number 52. I think you can guarantee Najee is going to be number 33.
No, I think he will, but I think you just got to, that when you draft him, you say, this is gross, but I think I have to do it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's some guys like that.
It's sad.
I don't know if he's
sad, but you just got to do it.
Yeah. Well,
definitely gross.
So overall, he is gross, and he's a good
one less for us to worry about, right, Fish?
Yeah. I understand Chris's point, and I can't knock him for that. I think he's dead on with that. But I can't advise him as somebody who made the red list to draft this individual, especially one that is, again, that slow.
I love the one where he changes his mind. He's like, "I'm so sorry, he's off the red list."
No, I don't think that's ever going to happen. But there's some I will maybe retract it slightly, but I'm never going to completely retract it. And I can give credit where credit's due, but it's just I can't.
Next year, I think.
What's that? You're gonna get this year or next year?
Next year. We didn't realize it was an option until I just started. We'll work on it together for next year.
Okay, I'm open to that. Mr. Harris, I guess the last thing on him. Why I guess it depends also like how good your team is in your roster. If you're looking for just somebody to add a little bit of extra depth, and you don't need him to touch your starting lineup, then
8.7 you need 8.7.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's where I feel like he's at.
That's if he doesn't regress any, which I do think he'll regress.
Sometimes you need 20 if you can. If you can get 20 instead of 8.7, that's
the thing where I know he's never going to get.
Yeah, he'll never get there. Yeah.
That's why I put him on there, just because he's proven that he can't have any upside, and I'm like, give somebody else a shot, even if they get 1 or 2 or 0. At least you try. Put yourself in a better position to get that 10 to 20. Mm-hmm. That's just kind of, I've seen enough with him where it just needed to be done. It was just time to go on the red list, and that's it. Just like with Jay Gibbons too.
The Jay Gibbons of fantasy football.
Yeah, essentially.
Country.
Yes, I think we're back up to Mick. I don't know if it's a good transition, but it's his turn nonetheless.
Speaking of Jay Gibbons, I don't know if I can have it. He's nothing like Jay Gibbons. He's the anti-Jay Gibbons. This guy, here's the way I'm teeing this up. The other LSU wide receiver. Ever heard that before? Jamar Chase, drafted 4th overall. The other LSU receiver, Justin Jefferson. We're what are we fast forwarding that? 3 years, 4 years, 2024. Mm-hmm. So this is the Tank Dell. This is the Tank Dell model from last year. Pick guys who know how to score touchdowns. Brian Thomas.
Oh,
Jacksonville Jaguars had the most touchdowns in college football last year. There's something about tape. Tape is nice. Measurables are nice. Route running is nice. but knowing how to score touchdowns is a thing, and that's what we saw from Tank Dell. So Brian Thomas, LSU. Trevor's going to need a guy. Ridley's gone. Most touchdowns in college football. Thoughts?
Yep. Ridley and Zay Jones are gone. So two of their top 4 targets are gone. And I remember watching the draft, and I remember Brian Thomas had some cool sunglasses on.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see where this goes wrong. I like him.
I watched like a minute and a half of a video about him, and it was that he didn't play football until like 4 years ago. He was playing basketball. Yeah, he was gonna go in the NBA draft or like go to college for basketball. They're like, wait a second, son. Here. And then he was like, whoa, put a ball in the gym. They're like, come with me, young man. The rest is history.
I'm looking up something here that's going to factor into my decision.
Jaguars get a primetime game. You'll hear about it.
Yeah, I'm just taking a look to make sure. Like Chris said, I know those individuals left.
Just making sure this is a real player. You guys tricking me.
Not tricking you.
That's another good trick for next year to make up a player. Only my guys can do that.
No, I don't know much about this individual. Huh? What did you say?
That's a trick for next year. See if we can get someone to draft a made-up player.
You mean
that's happened before?
Like you guys would have to play along with it. I would say the made-up player, and you're like, dude, he looks so good.
You have to add him. Yeah, we got to print out everyone with that player.
It's a unanimous perfect pick, but the player doesn't exist.
Like, I mean, it's kind of happened during the draft, but it was just a quite,
Can we edit this part out of the podcast and actually do it?
I mean, maybe, but by the time I learn how to do it, the people won't have their content. I don't want to keep them waiting. That's funny as shit, though.
Dante Jefferson, tight end.
But the scary thing is, if it actually works, then I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, there's a severe punishment for that person.
Yeah, I think there would be a punishment. Yeah, there has to be. Like, that would not be acceptable. I don't have any issues with it. This pick, I just don't know this individual, but
I'll send you some stuff.
Please, I'm open to learn and ready to learn. I just, but his situation, he definitely has the opportunity to take control of that offense. As far as from the touchdown scoring perspective, while Kirk's still there, that's what I was checking to see if he was. And Davis seems to be his days, like everybody, like Darren Fells, he had his prime. He came back down. As far as touchdown, crazy touchdown scores that do nothing else. There's nothing else. There's really no other huge competition for him. And why not? Why not him? I don't have an issue. I think it's pretty reliable because he's going to need to step into that role in order for them to be successful this season, being the Jaguars. So I see it working out.
All right. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Anytime. It's Chris, I believe now.
Oh, Red. Or I keep calling you Red Bus.
The first bus list wide receiver. I'm just gonna say his name. It's Marvin Harrison Jr. I know he's a rookie. Fish is gone again. Fish is gone. So just normally like I don't put rookies on the bus list.
Yeah.
Oh, sideways.
Oh no.
Like he's going so high in mock drafts. He's going like a top 15 pick. It's insane. So I was doing some film watching. I watched all the 3 big rookies, Marvin, Neighbors, and Rome Odunze. When you watch Neighbors and Odunze, their film pops. Like those guys are having fun out there. They're making cool catches. They're having a good time. They're doing what you want a rookie to do. When you watch Marvin's tape, it's kind of boring. Like he had schemed open a lot. He beats up on Western Kentucky and Maryland, bad teams. Like I just don't see that juice. I don't see that extra level of effort, that extra level of just being good. Like
a certain gibbonness to the way he
gibbonness.
plays.
There's a lot of gibbonness going on. What else do I got? But like, I have a comparison for him.
Okay.
But I think he is the NFL's version of Bronny.
Of who?
Bronny.
Oh,
Hmm.
Ronnie.
Bronny James.
Oh, wow. Wow, dude, that's nice.
He would not be a first round
skip
NFL
take.
pick if his dad was not Marvin Harrison Sr.
That's an awesome take.
And like, think about it. Like, he has had the best trainers growing up. He's had the best. His dad was the best receiver. He
Yeah.
had all the good coaches.
I can only hurt.
All the all the juices squeezed out of him. There's no more. He's at his ceiling already because he already has the best training. Guys like Neighbors.
Can I give you a tip?
They're just now getting to the NFL. They're just learning how the pros do it. What's your tip?
He doesn't want it bad enough. He doesn't need it.
He does not want it bad enough. He's living a cushy life already. He doesn't have that extra level of fight to get that.
That's what I would add.
Check.
All right, this guy's about to blow steam out of his ears. I don't want to hear from him.
No, I'm going to say this very calmly. I would not bet against that family. I would not think against that family. I think
That's true.
I think until I see it happen, I'm not putting him on the bus list. I can understand not putting him on the trust list either, but I don't think he belongs on the bus list. And why I say that is because while there is a popcorn fart throwing him the football, which you can't get around, nobody can argue that.
I didn't even mention that.
He's going to still have opportunity where it may not be a perfect season by any means, but certainly not bus worthy. I think he'll be above average, but like you said, is he what his father was? Who knows? We have to see. Maybe he's ended up being better. I don't know. Could he be worse? Perhaps too, but bus level, I don't know. I need to see more first before I, before I really make that prediction. But I admire the boldness that you took, and I don't have an issue with. I don't. What's that?
This is the point of the bus list here. Is I'm trying to save my league mates from making bad decisions, and I'm hearing rumors that this guy's going to go in the top 5 picks of our draft.
Should he be?
I think that's a mistake.
Should people wait until the second round again?
I think he would be a great third round.
Yeah.
I would love to take him in the third.
Yeah.
But first round is way too high. Second round is still pretty early. If he goes in the third round, I'll say okay.
You'd rather have
I'm just trying to save my league mates.
So would you? All right, Mr. Chris.
A bad investment.
A question for you.
Yeah.
Would you draft Marvin Harrison first or Brock Bowers?
Oh, Bowers in a heartbeat.
Really?
Serious?
Mm-hmm.
Serious, Clark?
Yeah, I'm dead serious.
I know your question is serious. You'd rather have Bowers than Marvin Harrison?
Oh, I thought you meant. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris.
I'll just beat that.
Or you're sure? You're sure, right?
I'm sure of that, yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just
Yeah,
asking.
I watched a pretty good 30-minute film breakdown of Bowers. I have a good feeling he's going to be a solid NFL player. And
the breakdown didn't say he was a great player.
You know how
that's true. That's true. I didn't say. Yeah, it's true.
He said he does good motion and he's okay after that.
He's got athleticism and he has potential.
And you know how scarce tight end is in our league. It is hard to find a good tight end.
It is, but I mean that coach is very. He's very adamant about being able to block, and if you can't block, you're not going to play. And you've got Mayer there, that's still going to show what he's got. I'm not saying Mayer's good, but I don't know. I'd rather take my chances. If I had the option between those two, I would take Harrison Jr. all day because that offense is going to have a lot of opportunities. And with his bloodline, I until I see it not work out, I'm going to take it between both reasons. I'm going to take a chance before I take a chance on some tight end with Bowers.
All right, that's fair.
So that's but I wanted clarity about that. But you're thinking you're you're coming down from that restaurant what they served you. So
it's about to get a lot hotter too. Just wait.
Oh, you had some delivery.
Yep.
They delivered something to you.
They did.
That's what's messing with your mind.
Got something to go.
Yes.
Make it red.
Yeah. All right. I think I'm going to cause some ruffle some feathers here too.
Right.
But I'll turn the hat back on, make it professional. For this
sponsors are
this person is injured, so that doesn't give it away yet. It could be anybody.
Yeah.
And has some new folks in town. That doesn't really give it away either because a lot of other players are in that position. But I see it really eating into his production, and I'm not sure of his availability.
Mm-hmm.
And the key additions that they've had on their team, I think, are really going. Sometimes you get indirect decreases in production because of them eating into your targets, but sometimes it's a direct correlation of them eating into your targets. And I'll explain more about that, what I'm talking about there. But it's none other than DeAndre Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
He's on the red list. He's injured. They say 4 to 6 weeks, and clearly he's still a hell of a talent. He's got talent. He's very good. He's got game. He's a vet. He knows what he's doing, and it would be exciting if he was healthy and could be relied on. But right now, I just don't think you can. So we don't even know if he's going to be healthy week 1. But besides that, Ridley's now there, and that's going to clearly, even though they're not quite the same in terms of where they line up and what they bring, their attributes and like their styles, it's still going to eat into his share. And also, what needs to be considered that I don't know if people really taken into consideration. Now Pollard is there with Spears, and they both are pass catching running backs, and that is where the indirect, while it's not the same position, that's going to indirectly eat into his targets, and that's where I really feel even if when he's healthy to come back, and I just don't know what his production is going to look like, and I see it taking a step back because I see others taking a step forward in that offense, and I wouldn't touch him. Maybe like Chris said, maybe there's a world where like at the very end of the draft and your receiver room set, but I don't think you can even rely on him as a wide receiver 3 anymore because we just don't know. And I can't believe I'm saying that about a player of this talent level, but to me, that was enough to put him on the red list for me, why I would avoid him. So, any takers?
How old do you think he is? I'm going to look it up.
Yeah.
32.
Yeah,
I would guess like low,
32.
32.
No, 32. I was
Yeah.
between 30 and 31, so 30. But yeah, I mean, he's still has enough room to grow. But I think for this season, he's a red list category guy for me.
Yeah. I think it's a good pick. I agree with everything you said. The only thing is that I think he's already pretty discounted. I think I think people already with the injury, it might be a nice buy low time, in my opinion. And buy low means pretty low because I think he's already going to be pretty low. But I think last round of the draft, did you see Hopkins there compared to some of these other guys who haven't played, who haven't produced? I might think about it. So not what he used to, but at the price, maybe.
I think I'm out with him like fish. I think he's a good red list guy. And if there's anything I feel like we've all learned playing fantasy football is that if you're out 4 to 6 weeks, that means you're out like 8 weeks. They're never generous on the times.
It's true.
They always make you hopeful, make you optimistic, but they always stay out longer than expected, I feel like.
Yeah, wouldn't you think science would just keep getting better?
Not always.
You would think.
Yeah, it's good. Everything adds up, but I think this price might just be low. Maybe even the first guy off free agents, like week 3, you can pick him up, and then weeks 9 through 14 is like, hey, that guy got me 11 a couple of times, or maybe he's 32 and his lower body's broken.
Could be. I'm leaning towards Chris that I would stay away from. Not only suggestive of why I put him on the red list, but still like the rationale. I get we're mixed. Unless your wide receiver room's like perfect and it's just like the cherry on top, then perhaps. But otherwise, I would stay away from him. That's my advice to the crew.
A lot of mouths to feed in that offense.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that's what I'm more so than anything else because I think he'll still be okay and he'll eventually get back on the field, but with a lot of mouths to feed and things going against him and not going for him, I don't like that scenario. I don't like where it's trending. So, man, I can't believe I switched up the order of which the second wide receiver I'm going to talk about, which I'm saving until my next term. But
Yeah.
I can't believe I decided to go with him first. I just really needed to get it off my chest.
You're building sense too.
Oh, I can't wait for this next one. I think I'm gonna. Well, I don't know if I'll upset. I'm going to upset one person that's not on this chat.
Okay.
But
I hope it's Josh.
I don't think so. I mean, I could, but I don't think it will be.
Yeah. It's one of the two babies. It's either Jack or Lily. It's like there's one of them I don't like.
Good.
I'll tell you.
I love them both dearly, but no, it is not them.
All right. Cool. Checking. All right, then we're back to the Truzz List. Joining Brian Thomas on the other side, probably more likely in the slot. I like him. So at the end of the season, a lot of you guys started to check out. No offense, but you guys were on to the other stuff. I was watching Jordan Love perform magic on the football field. 20, 25, 30, the last 4 weeks of the season in the playoffs. And I think the one guy that not a lot of people got to see that I spent a lot of time watching, or at least just stat watching, is Jaden Reed, slot wide receiver, Green Bay Packers. I don't have his stats, but those last 4, he was good all season. He's a little slot guy. He catches little shovel passes, whatever those are called. He's always open. And he finished really strong. So with Christian Watson always hurt, they have some other guys, but I feel like your slot guy is always pretty reliable, especially for a young quarterback. I think they have an easy schedule too. I like Jaden Reed. Give me him like wide receiver 23.
I'll be honest, I haven't watched him at all. Can you compare him to someone that was either on the Northeast High School football team or someone we played backyard football with? Like just playing styles.
Okay. So it's a lot like, so imagine if you remember Sam with out there playing?
Yeah. He'd try to truck stick everyone.
Yeah. So imagine if he didn't do that. Instead, he was very fast. and he was always open. And he doesn't look like Sam at all. He's very quick. He has good hands. He can run after the catch. Imagine if Sam could do that. That's what this is.
No, I'm glad you picked him because there's a lot of wide receivers in that receiving room, and I don't know how to differentiate all of them. So I'm glad you picked one guy for me to jump with.
Mm-hmm. He's almost a running back.
Fish?
I don't have an issue with this. My only thing would be I don't know who to pick from. While this is definitely, Mick, you made a compelling case, and if I was an owner in the league, I would definitely lean towards that way. But while Dobbs definitely did there was definitely a correlation between Reed accelerating and Dobbs decelerating, and there's no way you can't dispute that. It's in the numbers, and Josh knows that he's a math guy. So, nonetheless, I can't say anything to dispute it. I'm not sure. Does that sort of go the other way, and does the law of averages come into play, or that's the only thing I can consider. But from the player himself, and it looked like he was ranked 24th last year. I didn't know he was that high ranked, and I that's why I don't have an issue with it. I'm not sure. Like Chris said, I don't know who I would go. Like
Sam.
What's that?
He's basically Sam from childhood.
Now that you said that, I can't get that image out of my head.
But like way faster.
Well, he is in the league. I hope so. But hey, and if he's got that heart that Sam does, then shoot, he's going to be number one.
He's way nicer.
Yeah.
I don't know about him real life.
How's his temper?
There's two Sams. There's a Sam in real life who we know and love, and there's Sam on the football field who we know and like.
Yeah, I've heard some stories from Towson.
Yeah,
but I'm sure they deserved it.
He's an emotional player. That's all.
Yeah, but that's a good thing though. If you know how to channel it, it's fine. So I like it. I wouldn't know who to start with to pick, to identify it. But you've broken down the tape and you've done the research, so I support it. I have nothing to to bring up otherwise to the contrary. So
Okay.
all good from my end.
It's busted.
All right.
Yeah,
Bust this
plus
time.
time.
This might be the hottest one yet. This wide receiver broke out last year and was an absolute stud.
Mm.
But this year, he's going to be an absolute dud. Well,
It sounds like this, like an Instagram ad you'd get.
Yeah.
Go from dud to stud with these new T-shirts.
welcome to the bus list, Puka Nacua.
Oh, nice.
I want to see. I don't know where he finished last year, but it was probably what, top 3 wide receiver.
I'll find it.
But
Close.
we've
Close enough.
seen this song and dance before.
Yeah.
There's a superstar wide receiver on a team,
Mhm.
and the defense is all looking at that guy. And then some unknown rookie comes up out of nowhere and gets all the catches.
Yeah.
Mike, you're familiar with the other superstar, Antonio Brown?
Yeah.
Remember his rookie buddy Juju, who finished as like a top receiver one year, his
Yeah.
rookie year? And then once Antonio Brown left, he was just a bum.
Now they're both on Dancing with the Stars.
But I think he just slipped past the defenses last year because everybody's focused on Cooper, who the year before had the most catches, the most receiving yards,
Mhm.
and the most touchdowns. So all the defenses were focused on him, and Puka just kind of did whatever he wanted. But I think this year, defense is going to be like, oh, shit, we can't just leave this guy alone. Let's split the defense. Let's have some of our good guys cover Puka, some on Cooper,
Mhm.
evenly cover both of them. And I think Cooper is going to break out and return to that superstar status. And I think Puka's going to be gone by the wayside.
Oof.
That's what I got.
Wow. I didn't expect that, Chris.
That's what I got.
I don't have an issue with it. My only thing I would say is, like, Commish is usually very good at analyzing and projecting that talent.
Ugh.
You don't think so?
No, he does awesome.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's where so until, like, I'm not saying everybody's not right completely 100% of the time, but I think Kupp is slowing down. Like, Kupp's still a keeper-worthy player, and I don't know if Puka is going to keep doing what he's doing. I think there's definitely prime. It's a prime situation for some regression, but I guess this is where some of the subjective nature of this and not the objective nature, where I wouldn't have put him on the bust list, but I definitely think he's prime for a decline, and I have no issues with it. And that's where my main point is, like, Commish usually isn't wrong about this kind of stuff, and that's where, like, until I see it happen more frequently, which I don't think is ever going to happen, it's hard for me to, like, completely agree with it. But I understand the thought process, and I said, regardless of all that said, I don't have any issues with it at all, and I think it's a good take. I just, if we didn't know Commish, then I would probably be even more excited about it and be like, oh yeah, I'm there with you. But I know Commish and I know what he's looking at, and until I see it not work out, it's hard for me to be completely on board. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Mike?
Yeah, it sounds like, because you did Kyren too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like you think the thing that I feel, but I don't know, I don't have any math for, is like, I don't think that's right, that whatever the Rams are doing. It doesn't seem right that they are scoring all these points. I don't know if it's a Puka Nacua thing. I don't know if it's Williams, but yeah, when I was watching, I was like, I'm seeing it, but I don't know how it's happening. So if that's a part of your mindset, I'm pretty into that. Like, I don't know. You see those guys like Stafford, weird line. I don't know. They seem better than I thought they should be.
All right. I'm excited for this wide receiver that Fish skipped over. I feel like he's going to drop a bomb on us here.
I don't know. It kind of goes along with there's been quite a few themes discussed today on the show, but it goes along with a theme that was previously discussed, and it's a shame because no matter how good you are, you're not going to outrun whatever situation that you're currently in. And it's none other than Malik Neighbors. He's got talent. He's clearly very good, but he's in a terrible situation. The quarterback has problems. The offensive line has problems. The organization has problems. They all have problems. It's practically a circus. They may as well just open up a circus instead of have a football field in the middle of their stadium. That's what that organization is. And I think that they'll mess up this talent. It's like what the Orioles used to do with pitching. And even granted, still, they've been able to, get some talent in free agency wise for pitching. But regardless of what free agency you're able to get for wide receivers, connecting it back to football, whether it's by draft or just get new talent in, until you gut the other parts out of who's actually feeding you the football, and the other parts around you, I don't see it changing. And also, not to mention how bad their offensive line is and the quarterback and all that, there's also not a lot of playmakers around to actually boost his stock individually, where they're kind of all unproven now. Their best playmaker left. There's opportunity there, don't get me wrong, and they're going to be throwing the ball over a lot. But is he going to be able to catch it? Because is it going to be anywhere near him, or is it going to be 5 rows deep into the stands? That's where I don't know. And Daniel Jones, as I've said before, stated with the stats before, his completion percentage has gone up, but the yards has gone down. That tells me all day that his throws are getting closer and closer to the line of scrimmage, away from where he used to when he used to take shots downfield. And generally with a guy, I haven't watched this guy's tape, but generally those guys that are up and coming from college, their route running will improve, but they're athletic, and they're going to rely on separation down the field. And I just don't think it equates to what Daniel Jones' skill set is, or lack thereof. So that's kind of where I leave it, and definitely eager for both of your guys' feedback on this.
You watched the tape?
His
Yeah, I watched the tape
of him.
Mm-hmm.
It is
of Neighbors or Jones?
Neighbors.
Oh, I was gonna say you were probably ill.
I'll defer. Yeah,
It was Jones.
I watched the tape of Neighbors. I love the tape. I love the player.
Yep.
But the situation is absolutely terrible.
Yes.
Daniel Jones is bad. The front office is bad. The line, I think they let up like the most sacks of all time, or maybe that was definitely but they let up a lot of sacks last year. And I love the player, but I think I'm going to sit this one out and let someone else take the risk, even though I like the player.
Yes.
I just don't I hate that situation.
Yes.
Yeah, I pick at 9, and he looks like he would be a good guy to get. That's what a part of my brain says.
Mm-hmm.
Then the other part is like, just that's a loser move. Don't overthink it. No Giants. No Giants.
Yes.
That's smart. That's what I think. It's the smart part. But he's right there, and like you said, Chris, I think he's awesome. But it's like, just like, no Giants. Don't do that.
You need to pull the move. You need to pull the move from draft day. Like, pull the move from draft day and put a post-it note in your pocket that says "Don't draft Giants," and then just randomly throughout draft night, pull it out and look at it.
Was it Mac? Draft Mac? Was that fun?
Vontae Mac, no matter what.
Vontae Mac, no matter what. Malik Neighbors, or no Giants, no matter what. Yeah, that's another one that I bet is not personal.
No, it's not, because I agree with everything you both said. Like, he looks like an amazing talent, and I'd love to have. If it was my team, I'd love to have him on it. If I was like owning a team or coaching a team, I would love to have him on it. But if I was a fantasy owner, I can't justify it just because of everything else I know. And while he may still be able to slip through the cracks somewhat and have some production, I don't know for how long it lasts. And I don't know I can't build a team around that. And I can't even rely on him as a piece to fill in, because there's probably somebody else, knowing how bad that team is in the organization and the whole situation. There's probably somebody else I could stream, unless he ends up being such an elite talent where we can't look away. But we don't know that at this stage. So it's based on what we know and what we see. That's why I got to put him on the red list. And it's not, like Mick said, it's not personal. And I guess it shows the growth. Shows my growth. So very, very pleased with that assessment. But I feel bad for him, and I feel bad for the entire organization, except for Jones.
No, you should.
And the GM, he sucks too.
He could use.
Oh, he would. I don't know if he could be able to read it because he can't read the defense, but nonetheless.
No. Neighbors needs help.
Oh,
right now.
neighbors. Oh, if he could. Oh, if I should send him an email.
Like maybe to the NFLP, like I don't know, the commissioner. It's like,
Oh, and just say like, you're really doing this young man a disservice.
yes,
And he really.
I don't have to tell you anymore. You got.
Oh, I think he meant Jones reading the email. Like, really, I don't know if that won't do him any good. I'd like to talk to him because I think he can speak, but I don't know about reading.
Mhm.
But nonetheless, yeah, no, I think we could work something out there.
This is the time for the last Truzz List player.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Forget the tight end. I hate tight ends. I think it's
tough.
The boring position where you get 6.9, 7.4. You get 8 sometimes. Maybe one time you'll get 14. Even George Kittle gets 6 points sometimes. He gets 3 points.
No, I've had Kittle the past 2 years, I think. He gets a lot of 3s.
He gets a lot of 3s. So I was like, all right, every year you look at this list of guys and you try to find a breakout tight end. You try to get flashy. And this year I was like, no, tight end is stupid. Pick a boring, stupid player. You're going to get stupid, garbage, terrible team who's always going to be down by a lot. They're just going to be throwing the ball. My boring, trustless tight end. It's because it's like, why not? Why not him? Maybe. New England Patriots, Hunter Henry. I think they're always going to be losing, and it's just going to be Brissett back there. Like, I don't know, just give it to this guy. They don't have anybody else. So if you're gonna go like low round tight end, which I like to do, it's like just get this boring guy who's gonna get you 7.4. Hunter Henry.
So I feel like we can look back at the old drafts, but I feel like I end up taking Hunter Henry as my tight end 3 every single year.
Mm-hmm.
And he does exactly what you just described. He'll get you 6 points every week. He'll occasionally catch a touchdown. He'll usually catch a touchdown pretty early in the year, and then you're like, oh, I really found the breakout guy.
Yeah.
And then he just never breaks out again. So
I think about it for my teams, like Tyreek Hill gets you 40. Like, dude, just get 6.
Yeah. Just don't get a 0.
Don't get 0.
I think as the guy that's owned Henry a lot lately, I feel like he's the perfect guy for what you're looking for.
All right, that's good.
I like it a lot. Henry.
Uh-oh.
I mean,
I'm
solid. I like this a lot. I don't think I've said that yet, but I love this.
I don't think you've ever liked the tight end before.
No, except for Darren. Not since Fells. No, Mr. Fells. He's near and dear to my heart. And
That's since he fell last winter.
And if he's watching the show, that would make everything complete for me if he was watching the show. I hold him in very high regard. What a stud that man was. I can't even call him a young man. He was a man. He was a man's man.
You should find a way to do like Facebook targeted ads, but it's just at Darren Fells. Like you just want him to watch this video. I think you can target types of people.
I
your money.
That would be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I would make my life complete, I think.
Yeah.
He's but as far as Hunter Henry, I mean, yeah, I think it's perfect for that offense and the situation. And he's has a solid track record without even Brissett into the picture. And then if they eventually have the rookie come in there, then generally rookies have decent rapport with tight ends. And he has a good track record himself. So I think it all makes sense. I definitely see him being a Truzz List guy, and I think it's the perfect list for him. And he's going to continue doing what he does.
Blessing means the world to both of us. Me and Mr.
Yes. Absolutely. And Mr. Fells too. Shout out to him as always.
We got to get you a Mr. Fells jersey. That should be when you take over as commissioner. That should be your uniform. It's just a
Why did I think he had one? I thought you already had one.
I got to look into that.
I thought you already had Fells jersey.
Maybe I can get.
I think Texans, right?
Yeah, Texans. Get a custom one that says Mr. Fells on the back.
I can get Mr. Cheetah to probably make that for me again.
Yeah. He's taking a note.
Maybe.
My assistant.
He wrote that on a notepad to save for later.
Yes.
To look up.
Yeah.
All right, Hunter Henry, boring. Who cares? Bust list.
Bust list for tight end. So this one was hard for me. a lot of the big tight ends, I like them a lot this year. But I was looking at the Fantasy Pros at their ADP for this year, sorted by tight ends.
Mhm.
This guy's going number 3, which I think is way too high.
Mm.
This is Mr. Trey McBride.
Mhm.
Almost forgot his first name for a second there. He's a solid talent. I like him. But he was, I feel like just like Puka, he was a victim of, not victim, he benefited from being the only guy there last year. Hollywood missed a lot of games. They lost DeAndre Hopkins the year before. They didn't have anyone to throw the ball to, so Popcorn Fart just kept farting it over to Mr. McBride because there's nothing else to do. What else was he going to do?
It was very stinky.
He was coming back from a torn ACL. He wasn't going to run it. He's just going to pop it off to Mr. McBride.
Yep.
Marvin, who I do think stinks, but they are going to throw it to him more than whoever they had last year. They brought in Zay Jones, who I watched a lot with the Jaguars with Mr. Lawrence. And he's one of those guys, he's not good, but he's pesky. He's just always there, catching a ball here and there. And those aren't good guys to throw to, but they're better than nothing. And there was nothing last year. So that's why I think Mr. McBride's the best. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's tight end 3. I don't think he's tight end 10.
Mhm.
Maybe tight end 10. I'll put him at tight end 10.
And for him, that would be a bust considering where he was before. And this was your best pick, Chris. I completely agree. Where, like you said, I don't know if he falls like really off the tracks, but definitely there's going to be a little more than natural regression. I completely agree with like your reasoning for it too, and I kind of see the same thing happening. And especially with the only thing I guess I don't agree with Harrison. I think he's good, and he's going to still, even though he's not a tight end, he's going to steal targets away from Mr. McBride. And between regression and stealing targets away, McBride's not going to do well. So at least we can agree on that.
Yeah, I think someone's going to take him in the top 5 of our draft and think that they found themselves the next Laporta, the next Kelsey, whatever. He's just not that. He's going to be solid, but he's at the end of the year going to sit back and be like, "Oh, that was disappointing."
That's all I got. Yeah, I agree. I see that too.
Yeah. I said what I said about tight ends.
Yes,
I don't think you should get one early that isn't like Kelsey or Andrews or Porta. Maybe I might be missing 1 or 2 people, but I feel like you get the first 4 or the bottom 10, and like numbers 7 through 17 are almost the same.
Right.
I think they get 8.6. You're like, oh shit, my first round pick 8.6. Wow. Yeah, I think there's a good chance that happens.
Yeah, it's kind of disappointing. It's a shame that tight end situations like that. I might have to send an email to Mr. Goodell. Say, this is the league that you want to put out there with the tight ends. We're still in a tight end recession. It's been for a long time now. I don't understand.
It's coming back, but it still is pretty sad.
Yeah,
You got some young boys that are good.
it's a shame. It's just the way the teams are going and with focus on wide receivers. And sometimes you got to look for other ways to have a well-rounded offense. And I mean, look at the Chiefs have been pretty much the best team overall for a while, even though they've won every year and they have a great tight end. So why not try to emulate what they're doing? I'm not saying you're going to get a Kelsey, but at least put your team in position where you get some production from that position. And all these other teams seem like they don't. It's a very shallow position. And like Mike said, after the first few, the rest of them are almost the same. And even there's not a huge drop off from late teens to then like 30. It's just, then that range is the same. Like, it's just a bunch of these huge wide ranges and it's just boring. And I don't understand why the teams don't why they look it's like they overlook the position. And I'm not understanding it, because there's a lot of value there that could open up and make your wide receivers even better, and the rest of your running backs, everything. You can kind of work your way back and get yourself other opportunities in the other parts of your game. And the teams are looking at it. But what do we know? We never owned a team or coached, as far as at that level. But it just seems kind of odd to me that they don't value the position. We talk about it more than they do, I feel like.
But if you get the right one, it could be a league winner.
Exactly.
Joku was a league winner.
Yeah.
I feel like Joku together were Brady and Moss. They scored 20. He scored 20 every week. So if you get one of the right ones, you win. But I think it's really hard to figure out who he is.
It is
Out there, I think he is. I just don't think we know.
No, but one thing I do know is this gentleman I'm about to put on the red list and why he's on there.
Mm-hmm.
That's it's not so much about the player itself, but it's because of somebody up and coming behind him.
Mm-hmm.
And this player that I'm putting on the red list is Zach Ertz.
Ertz?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep. I wouldn't touch him. I wouldn't go anywhere near him. He's coming off a torn ACL. FedEx Field doesn't exactly have a good track record of people playing there. There's usually a lot of injuries. Washington, yeah. I don't know if it's still called FedEx Field. That's what I call it in my mind. But nonetheless, that's not good. And the player they have behind him, Ben Sinot, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. But apparently, I mean, while I don't know what this will mean, but it's definitely not bad, at first glance. It led Kansas State in receptions receptions and yards. Yeah, receiving yards, receiving touchdowns. I'm sorry. So he clearly knows how to get open in crunch time. And while that is college and doesn't always necessarily transfer to the pros, they still drafted him with that thought in mind. And also kind of to go off an indirect stealing of targets, we've got now the Commanders have Eckler and Robinson Jr. both in that backfield who are pass-catching running backs. I don't like that trend for Eckler, who's coming off of an injury while also dealing with a young gun coming up that's gonna compete for his target share. So it doesn't set up well for Ertz to have a good year, and that's why I'm saying that, in my opinion.
I thought Ertz was already receiving paychecks from his retirement account. So
he probably is.
So I agree. I think he should be retired. I think he should be relaxing on a beach in Florida.
Yes.
I don't think he should be worried about rehabbing an injury.
Yep.
I agree. I think it's nice that they wear red, and it can kind of be like, all of the Commanders are on the red list. Don't use any of these. They're like,
it's almost as bad as the Giants, but not quite as bad.
Chris doesn't like the Rams.
Yeah.
There's someone else you had two of.
Oh, Cardinals, yeah. That's right.
It's the Rams and the Cardinals.
Teams, yeah.
I think the Commanders would be a fourth one. So I agree. Yeah. Next, get him out of here.
Yes. I got a couple of additions.
Okay.
I know my usual defense, special teams, and my kicker.
Of course. Floor is yours.
I have to part of this I have to share my screen for.
Okay.
Let me see which one. Yeah, I'll show you this one. Why not? I'll show it for both. So I'm going to go ahead and share. It's still going through.
On your screen.
All right. Can you see it okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. I don't need this. I made my point otherwise. But this young man, did I?
It's a picture of all of them on fire that he hand drew.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Mick, this one's for you. For my defense and special teams, as if it doesn't go with the trend already, it's the New York Giants.
Nice.
It's just not gonna work. And it's not so much about some of it's about their players, but it's not completely about that. What it's really about for me, their offense is not going to be on the field a lot and have any kind of real presence. So that's going to put extra stress on the defense. Everybody knows all about that and how it works. And then also, this was really hard. Why I'm showing this is this was a really hard stat to find, but apparently, because everything's about offense, but as far as defense and how many, like the pass rush and how many sacks they get, I had to do a lot of scrolling to get down to the Giants. They were down even further. Defense, rushing defense. It might be Reds third down. There was sacks somewhere. That's how bad they are. We can't find it. 30. The sacks. Team defense and rush. Why is it not coming up now? Well, 1 second. Let's see this. Not that. Scoring. Oh. Got an alert from somebody. I had the number here. It was like 34 that they only got last year. So their pass rush was not good. I don't know why.
I'm laughing because I saw the other tab you had open.
Which one? The
One to the right.
we're getting to that.
I don't mean to spoil it, but when I saw it, I started laughing.
That's the exciting part. I don't know. I found it somewhere. I did dig. You get the point where it's not easily accessible to find this stuff, and it was around 34 that they generate. So they're not getting any pass rush. The defense is not going to be good. We know that.
Division too. Huh?
Not to rush it, but can we please go to Graham Gano?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It sometimes makes me sign back into YouTube, so I'm just going to copy it into this.
This is so bad.
Oh, here it is. I got it up. Okay. And make it bigger. That look better?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Gano is my kicker on the red list. And why?
Giant, huh?
Oh, it gets worse. Before he got injured last year with a knee injury, don't know exactly what was wrong, but obviously kicker and knee, it's not good. Whether it's their plant leg, like it is in this case, or if it's their kicking leg, it's even worse. But regardless, it's not good. He was 11 of 17. So around 64.7%. That's not good. That's very bad. That's even bad for college. So we're already not in good territory there. And he's coming off a plant leg or plant knee injury, like I was saying. Mm-hmm. So if you're not planting properly and you're not feeling comfortable, your kicks are going to go all over the place. It's not good. And so we're going to play this around 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. And I don't know the stream. I don't know what that is, but we just got to see what we're dealing with here. Mm-hmm. This was before he went on the IR list.
And Gano missed it to the left. So Gano missed 3 all year. This is 2 here in the first half.
Let me rewind it one more time to see how bad that was.
And Gano missed it to the left. So Gano missed 3 all year. This is 2 here in the first half. And that was a rough hole for Jamie Gillen as that snap was off to his side. And everything has gone wrong for the Giants here tonight. Low, but not too.
Yep, they didn't even show it again. That's how bad it was.
Yikes.
Just horrible.
Pretty big miss.
I'm stopping my share. Yeah. So nonetheless, if you're not comfortable with your I don't know what happened there. We're good now. But nonetheless, if you're not comfortable with whether you're kicking leg or your plant leg, or if you're not comfortable in general in sports, then your mechanics are gonna fail you. And that's what's gonna happen here. And plus they're not gonna have as many opportunities to score. So I just literally from top to bottom of this whole organization, I'm really not pleased. And it made me a little ill today having to look some of this stuff up. And I love Ack, love him dearly, but it's gonna be a tough year for Ack for sure to watch this. And I feel for him, and we're gonna have to check on him every week, make sure everything's going okay, because it's going to be a very rough season.
I think that in that video they were kicking a field goal down 26-0. I think that's a great little insight to how they just their whole organization is. I
didn't even think about it, but I had cherry on top. Well, good observation and well done.
That's just a summary of your last hour plus.
Yes.
Giants kicking a field goal down 26-0.
Yes. Yes. I wish I definitely saw it 34. I guess I had the wrong tab, but the sacks. But it's a shame, sacks only to go to your point, Mick. I was trying to but it's so hard to sometimes find some of that stuff. You got to dig deep for the stats. Eventually, they'll be well known.
Yeah, in the gambling community, huh?
Yes. At some point, they'll recognize it. But just leave it to the Giants to just kind of leave us in a, bad taste in your mouth. I mean, watching that tape, doesn't it, and hearing all these bad points, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. Like, that organization's just fat, poorly run. It's a shame.
Yeah. I have no.
Yeah.
I can't defend them.
No, and even the lights went out on Chris there. I mean, shoot. It's even hurting the electricity. It's even hurting the electricity. That's how bad they are.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's better. Oh no, actually. There you go. Now I see you.
Oh, let me put my camera back on. All right. Any closing thoughts?
I'm really happy with my list. I think I like my list. And this is a joy. I think you two were both honest today. I don't know if you were both right, but I do think you were both honest, and I respect that.
I think this is my boldest list yet, and I think it might be the happiest I've been with the list yet.
Yeah.
I agree. I definitely think, Chris, it was the boldest list yet. And I think we were honest, like Mick said. And it's just always a pleasure doing this. And it definitely, the time that we put into it and the sincerity in which that we take this, and we try to be professional, but sometimes these teams just suck, and we got to let them know. Somebody's got to do it, and we're happy to do it, and it speaks to the honesty. And I couldn't ask for, two better folks to discuss this stuff with. And I'm always happy every year, and let's keep this going every year. That's
one of the best days of the year.
Absolutely. Yes, it is.
I'm excited for football.
Yes. And hopefully, Mick, I wanted to make sure I continue to give you a platform for Sacks Only, because I do think you're onto something.
Yeah.
I don't know why these stats are so hard to find. I mean, part of it was my mistake there, but I had to research for like an hour today to even find where I could find that 34 number. And it doesn't even want to be found.
I had to say Sacks Only.
Yeah, maybe we need to ask Sandbar for some help there, because
a collaboration, Sacks Only and Sandbar.
I think so. I think we need it, and it's a shame, because really, like, when you think about it, when there's all these other stats like rushing efficiency, I mean, as far as like getting to the quarter, pressure rate, and all this other stuff, I don't know how they exactly come up with this number, but it's a number, right? And we know what it means, how effective they are getting to the quarterback. But you either sacked him or you didn't. And that's the only way you can really measure it by. So I see what you're saying here. I just wanted to give you that shout out and give you that platform if there's anything else you wanted to say about that.
Nope, not at this time. I've said what I meant, and I got everything off my chest that I wanted. And if there's ever time to run again, you'll hear from us. If there's ever a platform, and we think the world is ready for an honest conversation about defense. If I think that time is now, you'll hear about it.
Like what? That sounds good.
Fish, do you think there should be any punishment to people drafting red list players?
Thinking about it, maybe just certain ones.
Yeah.
If I had to choose.
All of the Giants?
Yeah, I would say all of the Giants.
I think they have to chug a Kool-Aid, and they have to have a red mustache the rest of the draft, the red list.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't know exactly what it should be, and I'll let the powers that be discuss that. But I think there should be some type of a punishment for the Giants, because they are the Giants that are on this red list, just because it would be a giant pain in the ass if they select this.
Can you go over all the Giants again? It was Jones.
Yep, Jones at quarterback.
Yeah.
You get Singletary for running back. Got Mr. Neighbors for wide receiver. Got the defense, the Giants defense, and Graham Cano for the kicker.
Yep.
That's 5.
Damn, you didn't. Yeah.
There's clearly a theme here.
You didn't give many breaks.
Yeah, they made it easy for me, and I really mean, I didn't go into this like wanting to isolate or narrow in on a team, however you want to word it. I didn't go in there saying, the Giants I'm going to focus on. It was only like once I got like to the third name, I was like, this team sucks. Like, this team really sucks.
Yeah. I understand.
Yeah. And, the worst thing that would happen is if somehow they make the playoffs and I have to eat my words, but I don't see a world where that happens. And genuinely, it's a disservice to the fans because they do deserve better. And a lot of the good players on their team, especially like Neighbors, who was clearly a great talent. Singletary seems like a good guy.
Yeah.
Why do they have to be subject to this? It's a shame. I know they're getting paid to do a job, but it's unfortunate for the league to televise that. I mean, they're so bad they can almost break the television. I mean, when you're catching football, it's like a home run ball when you're to, at least 10 yards right of the field goal post, and you're yay deep into the stands. There's a problem. Clearly, some kind of a problem, and the fact that you got guys who watch Hard Knocks can pick up on how bad the GM is. That definitely shows there's a problem, and there's it's just awful to see. You hate to see it.
Do you have HBO?
Do I? No, but I could always get like a login or something to stream it.
Yeah, you need to. I'd say highly recommended watch for you. It's probably a total of 4 or 5 hours. It's not long, and it's a first class look into how bad that organization is.
Run. Yeah. I'll have to check it out. And I can stream it. I'm assuming they probably have like some kind of an on-demand thing.
There are gonna be holes in your wall, man. Don't do that. Don't watch that show.
I know. I'm gonna be very upset. That's for sure. I'm trying to think of the name to end on. Who we should give the listeners for those individuals to come up to me to see if they watched the whole video all the way through.
What do they get if they do that?
I don't know. What should they get? Well, in your mind,
how about
$400?
How much?
300-400. Well, the first one, not all of them.
All right. How about we end with this instead? How about we end with everyone gives a bold prediction for something that'll happen during draft weekend?
Okay.
I think there'll be 3 mid-draft trades.
Wow.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
In the draft.
Mid-draft. Like what was it? Saquon for A.J. Brown? Fish, is that what it was?
Oh, yeah, when Josh and Fish shook really hard.
Oh, it was Saquon was Ridley involved in that?
Oh, maybe it was Mr. Ridley.
I kind of remember Mr. Ridley for some reason.
Could have been.
When I got him back, I think it was Ridley.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll find out. Josh will remember that. Trying to think. As far as bold predictions are concerned, I would say no, because they won't get drafted. I'm going to say there will be 3 red list people drafted, which I'll be very concerned about if it happens. But I think there will be 3 red list guys drafted, even though I warned them not to.
I think Joe's going to lose in the pie contest.
Whoa!
Not because he can't do it, but I think he'll be nervous. It's his first, like, he was just playing around as like a guest the past whatever years. Now it's like it's real. He's probably been thinking a lot about it. I don't hope he does. I just think he will.
Wow, that would be holy crap! I can't if he loses that's his thing. That's what he likes. Like that's what he enjoys. I think the most, besides I've seen everybody, is the pie eating contest.
Yeah,
and that's what he's great at.
Yeah,
you really think he's going to lose it?
Well, it's a bold prediction.
I mean, that's a very like.
I would take it at a certain odds. Yeah,
a certain. What would be your odds? What would entice you enough to take it?
I take you at 400 plus 400.
Gotcha.
To lose. He's the favorite, but
clearly, yes.
But he's never lost. You don't know who you're going to get. There's new dads at the draft. I don't know. I could see it happening. He's new. He's nervous. I don't know. Maybe he was eating a lot of chips.
So, Fish, we're doing this draft like 2 weeks earlier than we usually do it. Do you think that has any impact on how the draft goes?
Absolutely, yes.
And in what way?
I think it'll be more conservative. I think there'll be less risk taking, and I think it'll be more as far as names that people. I think there'll be a lot of Truzz List guys being taken, and I think there'll be less like however you want to just risk taking in general in the draft. Where for flyers, I was trying to look for the right name. There'll be less flyers taken, and I think it'll be more predictable as far as rankings are concerned from ESPN. Other than Josh is going to do what he's going to do, and that's why we love him. But other than that, I think most people are going to be more by the book as far as how they draft, and that's how I see it happening. Since we're drafting earlier, because we don't know with injuries and we haven't seen the complete preseason yet, and all these things. That's why I say that. What do you think, Chris?
I don't know. The only thing I can think of is that I think earlier than usual, Lane will lose interest and start picking on Josh. I think that happened earlier in the draft than usual.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that.
Mike?
What do you think, Mike?
What was the question?
Who
How
would be
drafting earlier than usual impact?
Oh, how will drafting earlier than usual impact the draft? I think it would be funny, and God forbid, but it would be funny, and it's more likely that a keeper gets hurt like that Friday in a game, like a preseason.
Yeah.
Those are the risks of it. So God forbid that happen, but it would be fun. It would be funny, not for the players, but it would be a little funny.
Yeah, as long as it's not yours. So, do you think anybody's going to retire during the draft this year?
Yes.
Daniel. That I would actually like respect him for doing that, because that's probably what he should do.
Yeah.
We should see. I got to hold on. I'm going to share one more time.
Sure.
It's on the way. Zoom has to have their little what have you.
Fish, can we drink some Knob Creek this weekend?
Absolutely, we can.
Let's do it.
Can you guys see the screen okay?
Yeah.
I found it for you, Mick. It was bugging me. I was like, I knew I had this. They sacked the opposing quarterback 34 times.
Doesn't feel like a ton, huh?
No. And the leader was like, I don't think it has the leaders on here, but there was another article I was reading, and some of them were like 70s and 80s. It's very bad. So, not good. Not good. And I don't know who that's a picture of there, but regardless of which, just not a good situation. But
No.
Chris, yes, absolutely. Knob Creek it is. It feels right. Any other requests for the draft weekend?
I have to pee so bad.
Well, there'll be plenty of.
I'm not saying we have to finish right now, but
No, there'd be plenty of other.
really.
No, I think we're good.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of bathrooms there too.
Fish, how long does it usually take to upload?
If it's a long video like this, it's usually like 20% of the time. So it might take like it could take almost an hour for this.
Okay.
That's a good rule of thumb, around 20% of the time of your film.
Should we try to get it out there now so any night owls can watch it tonight?
Absolutely. I've actually had a request to do that as well, which I usually don't get. I got a request. It was Mr. Slam.
Mr. Slam.
Sandbar himself. That way, whether night owls or morning coffee, we got it. And I know Mick has got to go, so I will
Thank you.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, I'll wrap it up. But anyway, fam, it was a pleasure doing this. Thank you all, whether you're in the video or attending, and otherwise, we look forward to a great next draft week and full of surprises and things we expect too. But nonetheless, it'll all be entertaining, and we're looking forward to it. And thank you all for your time. And of course, don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Good work, boys.
See you boys next weekend.
Yes, see you boys next weekend.